is all about slavery. And even look at the dates on which it was signed. It was right at that era, right after the Civil War. And if you look at it that way, the case is an easy case to win. And I hope the lawyers talk about birthright, citizenship, and slavery, because that's what it was all about. And it was a very positive, it was meant to be positive. And
I already know the lawyers ain't gonna talk about it, but I'm about to break this all the way down. It's about to get deep. We're about to time travel back to the American Revolution. Fought in 1775 through 1783, where 13 British colonies in North America broke free from British rule and established the United States of America. How does that even make sense? First, you have to wonder, why is there British colonies in America? Second, why would they fight against their own kind for taxes? It's almost just like the tariff wars today. As y'all see, it's getting exposed. So they was in America attacking Americans, not the British people. They wanted to take it over. Why do you think the Queen had possession of it? At least in their books. Those 13 colonies is the same 13 families most people call the elites. The same ones that represent the 13 stars on the forehead of God El. That is the 6-point star that doubles as the Seal of Solomon and the Star of David. As y'all can see, they maintain control until today, 2025. And yes, grays exist and plenty of other beings, but that's a whole nother video. So after the 5 years of war, they're not going to mention the 13 colonies settled. They took it upon themselves to declare their first president, George Washington, in 1789. He was elected with no opposition. And notice he led an army in the American Revolution I just talked about. Think about it. Now ask yourself, how is he elected if he's a foreigner in America? Just imagine he got all those votes from those 13 colonies, not the American people. This is why he had no opposition. We didn't even know. And how they're still manipulating things today from the shadows. Now the Civil War Trump was talking about between the United States of America and the Confederate States of America over disagreements about slavery. Now keep in mind, the United States of America has been infiltrated already. So technically they are on both sides of this war. Just in case you don't know what Confederate means, a person one works with, especially in something secret or illegal, an accomplice, joined by agreement or treaty. As I mentioned before, they started making their own votes for their own president. So 3 years after the Civil War, they established birthright citizenship through the 14th Amendment in 1868. So to keep it simple, anyone from any country can come here to America and have a baby here, and all of a sudden their baby is American without going through the whole process of being a citizen. And of course, they can fast forward the citizenship process with anyone else they feel like it, especially back in the day. So now, 2 years later, in 1870, they prohibited denying the right to vote based on race. And if I look down to the 15th Amendment, it said they granted African American men the right to vote by prohibiting denial of suffrage based on race and color and previous condition of servitude. Now, if you go back up, it specifically say the Black Americans could not vote until 1965, bro, and still had to deal with literacy tests, poll taxes, grandfather clauses, intimidation, and violence, just like today in 2025. There is a reason why they currently say Black or African American on all these applications, because they know we are different and we are the original people of this land. So basically, this states that all the races was able to vote besides Black people, but then they later specified what Black people is able to vote, and that would be the African Americans, which is the people that actually came from Africa, because technically they are foreigners also. So now it's about to get a little deeper. So in the midst of while all this is happening, they started building an electrical grid around Earth in order to lower our frequency, cooking us and depleting our brain functions. We are electrical beings, so this affects our aura. So the first one is reported to be erected in 1844. This all ties in how they slowly got us to stop fighting for our freedom, because they started messing with our minds and was able to brainwash us. So we're gonna skip to World War I, when they finally placed all their poles across the world. So this happened in 1914 to 1918. Keep that in mind. Since we were brainwashed and we forgot who the enemy was and forgot who we were, we ended up fighting for the enemy. As we all know and heard the stories, the black people was basically sacrificed. And there's even stories of the people they was going against, saving them, telling them that they are the prisoners. So after this war, in order for the soldiers to go home, they all had to stand in line to take that potion. The same thing they still do today in 2025. So when they all returned home, they were activated by the polls, because we're just now waking up to the fact of things like nanotechnology, gene alterations, etc. They've been doing this. We're just now catching up and waking up to the fact that it's been happening for hundreds of years, bro. And it's exactly what they talk about in the Bible. But anyways, guess what happened after they were activated? The Spanish flu from 1918 to 1920, offing tens of millions of people. This was a bio attack. Now, for everyone that survived this, they had to find a way to coerce them to take potions, since they wasn't forced like the ones that was already in the military that started this whole thing to begin with. So they started covert biochemical attacks, flip different weapons and take a wild guess what it could be. Chickenpox, and as y'all can see, they say European settlers and explorers brought it here to the Americas. It's a bioweapon because you can clearly see it affects the skin first to destroy your immune system to get inside your body to obviously off you. So since people can physically see it, that will scare them to get potions. So when people see things like this and they get that potion, it kind of causes the reverse effects of things like this. It'll start to damage the inside before it starts to show on the out, making it covert and almost no one to blame. Now I want y'all to look on the very bottom. The World Health Organization eradicated this back in 1980. Now I want y'all to notice how the World Health Organization declared HIV a pandemic in 1981, just a year later. They got people believing it came from quote-unquote gay people. I mean, that don't even make sense. But being a side effect or intentional effect of those potions makes way more sense than that BS they've been telling us our whole lives. I mean, look at the timing. That's not coincidental at all. So since they figured out how to alter the immune system, now their next step is to insert those chemical weapons in as gene expressions and now attacking your body in order for you to react to the generational towers. 1G 1987, 1991, 2G 1991, 2001, 3G 2001, 2009, 4G 2010, 2019, 5G 2019 till now. And we all seen how important it was to them to put up those towers. I mean, all around the world. They literally put everyone on lockdown. I mean, I know we all came out and thought we was tripping when the landscape just looked completely different because of those towers they just put up everywhere that wasn't there before. I mean, just think about these poles started like this, mad wires everywhere. Nowadays, no wires. They even got the nerve to try to disguise them, for the sleeping people, at least. So if we're electrical beings, how is this not affecting us at all? It is. We all are being microwaved 24/7. Unless you're underground, deep in the country, or you still got lead in your paint. We've been in a war for a long time, and they already know the ending. I already know the ending. Trump already knows the ending. They can't stop the gods forever.
And we're very powerful. This country is very powerful. So let me tell you, it's far more powerful than people understand. We have weaponry that nobody has any idea what it is, and it is the most powerful weapons in the world that we have. More powerful than anybody not even close.
So in this documented war against the United States of America, found over 25 years ago, made by these agencies that's working on this plan, which ironically is the same agencies that lost their power and also got defunded recently. But this document literally gives us the blueprint of everything that did happen in the past 20 plus years in order, literally. Exploit CNN syndrome. This is a serious cyber war that causes collateral damage and exploitation. Things we see such as black on black crime or black women versus black men. These type psyops is extremely damaging to our own communities. capture and torture Americans in living color on prime time. We all see these shows on TV like Cops. They got it so bad to almost every department got their own little social media showing videos and just getting clout off them doing all kinds of BS, bro. What should be private matters. And of course, we all know who they target the most. The black people. For all these reasons I've been naming throughout this whole video, because they know who we really are. As y'all can see, terrorist attacks, binary bio, as I mentioned earlier, with those things that affect the skin, that's how you know it didn't come from the inside, it came from the out. RF against the brain, radio frequencies. These are more ways they're silently attacking us. And notice how the way they got in quotations, those towers they just put up when they locked us down. Now, over 25 years ago, this is exactly where they expect us to be at in 2025. Look around, you would never thought that would have happened back in the 90s, but hey, it looks almost like what they said. Now they expect to go on the defense in 2025 because of approaches from who knows what, but we all know who. Notice they say in and out of theater because we are in the movie. Also, it mentions survivability and effectiveness of U.S. forces on or near the killing grounds. I wonder where that's going to be at. Think about it. Now, this is the most important one. And if they was right about everything else throughout all these years, why would they lie about this? They want to become the only human strike force. And they will be dealing with increasingly capable, meaning people will be waking up to more and more powers. Now notice where it says bio, that means biological. Now the WMD means weapons of mass destruction. They're literally saying those biological weapons of mass destruction, meaning whole entities. They are describing in all caps individuals and groups that has horrific and destructive power. And they are difficult to deal with because they are omnipresent with no exploits. They are talking about the gods waking up and the allies. This is their challenge they've been expecting to face in 2025, well over 25 years ago. We're not seeing what's going on behind the scenes, but the physical war has already started. So once this power grid is cut, our energy will be returned. Also, all the covert attacks will stop. It's over for them. I said all that to say this. They started wars on our lands, then brainwashed us with frequency weapons, then infiltrated our communities and government to oppress us because they know we don't remember. Then they brought all their homies from their home countries and then gave them our identity and forced us to take theirs. This is why the overall collective of black people lives is so much harder on their own land versus everyone else that comes on this land from somewhere else. Not only that, they think we're the most laziest and incompetent people on this planet for some reason. But I also know they get trained to think that way. But it's up to them to wake up and think for themselves. That's the whole point of the spiritual battle. Because when it comes to black people, we literally have to sell our soul to make it to any kind of high level. Rather that be in the military, fraternities, sororities, anything you have to pledge to, or get a license because that's basically a pass to do something unlawful. It's all a trap to keep a repetitive cycle of evil and destruction. I hope if you made it this long, you now understand why the quote-unquote black Americans are prisoners of war. And we're in the process of being freed. We see everything being reset right now as we speak, all in order to prepare for the new world. I'm going to attach a clip at the end of this video. I showed it to y'all a long time ago, but it should make a lot more sense right now. Anyways, y'all know how I keep it. Y'all be gods. Peace.
Graduate and be in that world. And you're going to be leading the soldiers and the sailors, the airmen and the Marines in that world. You'll be dealing with terrorists. You'll be dealing with hybrid armies. You'll be dealing with little green men. You're going to be dealing with tribes. You'll be dealing with national leaders and local leaders. You'll be dealing with politics and economics. And you'll be dealing with direct fire and indirect fire. And you're going to be dealing with it all. And it's all going to be dealt with simultaneously.